Yo. Thank you for watching another video. I sincerely appreciate it. As you can see from the title, this video is a little bit different. But as I said in my original video, I want to be able to talk about, my life experiences, things I went through, and how they kind of molded me today. And this kind of falls into the spiritual realm. So I just kind of want to talk about the religion I was raised in, how it affected me as a child, and how it has affected me even to this day. Or rather, that may be negatively or positively. This video isn't to disrespect anyone. It's just to give information on how I was affected personally by religion. I know I have a lot of family members, friends who are still in religion to this day, and some are still in the religion that I was raised in specifically. So I'm definitely keeping that in mind as well. So let's get into it. So I was raised as a Seventh Day Adventist Christian. For those who don't know, Seventh Day Adventists believe in the Sabbath. The Sabbath being Friday sunset to Saturday sunset was a holy day. And this was based off of the fourth commandment in Exodus. They took that commandment more serious than the rest, I guess. Because that commandment says, remember. The only one that says, remember the Sabbath, the seventh day. Remember, I haven't read the Bible in 10 years, so y'all gonna have to bear with me. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou do all thy labor and all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, you nor thy wife, children, neighbor, or even the stranger that's within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that's in it. On the seventh day he rested. So, they believe that God allegedly made the earth in 6 days and rested on the seventh day. So they believe that the seventh day, which is Saturday, is a holy day, as opposed to other religions who believe Sunday, is a holy day. And so that's why you see most, Christians going to church on Sunday, but Seventh Day Adventists go to church on Saturday. So that's what we did as well. We got everything ready throughout the week. Come Friday, we finished cleaning up. My mother would prepare food for the Sabbath. So on the Sabbath, we went to church, came home, ate dinner, and then stared at each other waiting for the sun to set so we can get back to life again. Going into this religion and how it affected me, it started in first grade. So in first grade, in my religion, there's a few things. Let me backtrack. There's a few things. So, on the Sabbath, at least in my household, we weren't working, weren't watching TV, weren't playing sports, weren't surfing the internet, wasn't doing none of that stuff. Also, we didn't believe in any holidays, so I had never celebrated holidays like that. And so in first grade, starting in first grade, I was telling kids, Santa Claus was fake, parents buying them the gifts, and Christmas was pagan. This was at 6, 7, 8 years old. So the school started telling my parents to leave me at home during the holiday season so I could stop telling children that. And that's a true story. And then moving forward, I was I was kind of taught what we call the fire and brimstone message. If people aren't believing basically in your religion or, believing in Jesus, believing in God, they're going to burn in hell. So I had this idea as a little kid that man, my teacher's nice, but she doesn't go to church. She's going to burn in hell. This is how I viewed everybody, which is pretty messed up. But then, after that, I went to a Christian school in Warren, Michigan. And that was a cool school. But when I went there, I was like, man, finally I'm about to go to a school. The kids going to be like me. They're going to believe the stuff I believe in. So I get there, Christmas time rolled around. They're getting ready for a Christmas program. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? And so even there, they left me in the classroom while they took all the other kids to do a Christmas program. And so again, I was alienated for the stuff that, that we were believing in at that time. And then, I mean, it was just like a constant thing to where I really started asking questions kind of around that age when I went to the Christian school, like, more questions like, why this? Why that? And the answers I would get from pastors, elders, my parents was just that number one, God works in mysterious ways. He's basically Houdini all the time. And that, when they didn't have an answer, oh, you're not meant to know that right now. When you get to heaven, God, Jesus can answer that for you. And I'm pretty intuitive, and that answer just wasn't good enough for me. You know what I mean? Like, I can live this whole life, and everything I did could have been false, but I gotta wait to ask Jesus after I die. I That didn't make much sense to me. Um, but I mean, moving forward, it was just like a constant feeling of it's just not right. There were times in church where I would just look back and just see everyone on their knees, bowed down, praying. I just look around like, man, this is borderline creepy stuff right now. Like, everybody's like in this trance, and I didn't like that. Like, it was weird to me. Like, it was really weird. I'm like, everybody's doing the same thing. Like, that's weird. And what really kind of made me not really like it, not really mess with it like that, was the fact that you couldn't be an individual. And you always hear, die to self. You have to die to self. You have to give your life to Jesus. Die to self. It's not about you anymore. You just give your total life to Jesus. I If you want to do that, that's cool with y'all, but that wasn't me. Like, I feel like, I'm an individual. Even if I did believe in God or believe in Jesus, didn't they create me for a reason to be who I am? Why would they create me to not be me? They created me to be their slave. I don't get it. That don't make sense to me. So that wasn't something I was rocking with either. So I'm like, no. And as I got older, I mean, once I really hit teenage years, I was basically done with church. I mean, I went because my dad didn't play, so it's not like I could not go at the time. But I mean, at that time, I was already. We put the headphones in. Me and my brothers in the car on the way to church. I had Wayne playing, Blade Icewood, everything, like just sitting there, but sitting there straight face to where, because if my pop saw me like bobbing my head, like, what you listening to, and it would have been over at that point. So, but yeah, I was already kind of checked out with church at that point. Um, but I just felt like growing up as a kid, because no questions was answered, because I was told to live this certain way, that I didn't have any. I wasn't able to grow as a person, actually see who I am. It was just, Darian, this is the book. This is the Bible. Follow this. As a child, you don't even know who you are. It's just follow this book. This is the book. This is everything. And it was hard, man. It like, I feel like it killed relationships with people growing up. I feel like I could have met a lot more people, learned from other people as well. But I had this idea in their head: if they're not going to church, if they're not doing this, they're going to hell. And it's a terrible way of thinking, especially for a child trying to grow, find their place in the world. It was really difficult. And then even moving forward, I started to do a lot more research, even with my brothers and stuff, about religion after I was 18, because I stopped going to church. I said I wasn't stepping in another church after that point, once I had control of myself. But religion still played a part with me at that point. So just in my everyday life, I felt like if I made a mistake, if I kept sinning and making mistakes, I was going to have the unpardonable sin. I believe that's what they called it, at least when I was in church. And they said if you keep doing the same sin over and over again, the unforgivable sin or something like that, God won't forgive you. And I lived in complete fear my entire life as a kid, man. Like complete fear. I remember walking to school back in Oak Park, Michigan, and I'd be like, I want to say like a curse word or something, but I feel like God would literally strike me down and kill me if I did something like that. Um, so it was just a crazy way of thinking as a child. And then I think what really made me kind of despise religion was that not only was I living in the box, but I just couldn't do anything. And being raised in sports and how much my parents love sports, and not being able to play any sports, that boy, that broke my heart. Because on the Sabbath you couldn't do none of that. Most of the sports happened Friday night lights for football, basketball games Friday nights and Saturdays. Like couldn't do it. It was tough, man. I was just waiting to turn 18. I'm like, I am done with this, bro. I cannot do this anymore. Um, and that was when I was like really despising religion, man. I was like, I'm not me. I can't be me. I can't do anything. I can't make mistakes. Like, I held myself to a standard that was impossible to live up to. Impossible. And then you hear all the time, Jesus coming back, Jesus coming back. And when I was younger, I didn't even think I'd live to be to where I am now, 27 years old. They'd be like, you hear in church all the time, like, oh, you're gonna graduate in 2010? This was back in the 90s. God gonna be back by then. Jesus gonna come back by then. And I'm like, and that's how I lived my life as a kid. I'm like, God gonna come back. Let me just live good, follow the Bible. That's all I need to do. And I'm gonna just go to heaven and ask Jesus all the questions I had about why all this happened. And yeah, but growing up, those like ask questions. The goal of this is to ask questions. This isn't to bash religion. This is just make sure you ask questions. If someone doesn't have an answer for you, then maybe that's not something you should be following. You know what I mean? If you can't find an answer, if you're not getting some clarity, find it. Always have growth. I felt like religion confined me to my way of thinking. Like, this is the only way to think. And that's where we get messed up. You should be growing every single day. Like every single day. You can learn stuff from so many different people. I was at the point, I'm like, man, this person doesn't believe in God. I can't listen to them. You know what I mean? I can't listen to them. And got to the point where it was like, if there was an overweight person, it'll be like, don't listen to them because they can't control the way they eat. They can't control their thoughts. They can't tell you, they can't give you information. This is how I thought. I judged everybody. As a little kid, I judged everybody. Period. If they didn't believe it. And that's what was tough. But like I said, this isn't to bash religion because religion, yes, it upset me. It upset me that my parents were paying tithes and offerings where we barely had like food to eat, couldn't get no new clothes, was getting hand-me-downs from people at church. Like, yes, that made me mad, but it also created the person I am today. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've been through struggle. I've been through times where we didn't have food. I've been through times when we moved out here to Oregon, all of us in one room, my entire family in one room, barely had food. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been through struggle. I've seen a lot. And it's hard to say because in the beginning of this video, I was going to bash religion. Like, I was going to beat religion down. I was like, I hate religion. It's for weak-minded people. But when I started to think back and really think about this video and think about my life, I was like, man, religion is good for people at certain points in their lives. Some people need it. You know what I mean? And it's helpful for them. Like thinking about my parents and where they came from, what they went through. You know what I'm saying? My grandfather on my dad's side died when my dad was like 12 years old. And they lived through their own kind of hell. My grandpa on my mom's side was on drugs. And she went through her own hell. And so religion was something that was able to give them some direction. Religion gave them something to live by. They needed something to follow at that point in their lives, and it was able to help them. And it did affect us to give us a different life than probably we would have lived if they went through the same cycle that they were living through, period. But I feel like you get to a point where you outgrow stuff and you have to continue to grow. And I feel like religion, at least for me, halts that. From what I've seen from people, I feel like it halts your growth. Um, it just makes your thinking very small, very small, and that's just my opinion. I could be talking on my ass, but that's my opinion. Um, but I mean, going back to the good things it did with religion, man, at my church in Maranatha, that was the best church I ever went to, and I'll always remember that church. But we helped people. We were out there feeding the homeless, man. We went to this Yoruba hotel, which was in the hood. When I tell you it's the scariest place I've been to date, the scariest place I ever been to. The hotel, it was like homeless people stayed there, people who were in and out of prison, and we went there. Family preached, gave food, passed out tracts, like we did a lot, and we helped a lot of people. But I feel like to feel like everyone needs to conform to a religion or believe the same thing, that's when I feel like things start to get cult like. I really feel like things begin to get really cult like when you start believing that everyone should be this, should do this, no individualism. No, no. You can't tell me not to be me. You can't tell me not to be me. And then, when I was raised, like when I tell you it was real, like my family didn't play, when they read something in the Bible, when we were following religion, the one thing I can say is that my family did not half-ass nothing. You know what I'm saying? We kept that side. We weren't doing nothing. If you was doing something, you was gonna get popped if you was caught doing something. So, I mean, we did that. You talk about no earrings, no makeup, none of that. Like, I got a real funny story, and like I said, this isn't to disrespect anyone. This isn't to like bash my parents, because my parents thought they were, saving the lives of me and my siblings, and so you got to respect that. You know what I mean? But when I was 18 years old and I got an earring in my ear, and I had my friend do it. And I wore headphones for a week. Now I'm 18 years old. I wore headphones for a week, so my mama didn't see it. And one day she was like, "What's that on your ear?" And she ran over and took my headphones off. She was like, "You got an earring? You got an earring?" And my mama did not talk to me for like a week, like nothing. Like she was like legitimately hurt, because I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the stuff we believe, your body was a temple. You're not supposed to like pierce your body, tattoo your body. You're not supposed to do any of those things. That was evil. That was like what the Egyptians did, because the children of Israel, were like God's people. And the children of Israel came out of Egypt, with Moses and all of that. And we were supposed to leave, those customs, what they were doing with their jewelry, with their secular things, everything they were doing. You left that in Egypt, and you came out of Egypt, and you were Israel, the children of God. Your body's supposed to be temples and things like that. And so when I did that, man, that was like crazy. And I was like the first one in my family to do any of that. You know what I'm saying? I had earrings. I ain't got a man right now. I had earrings. I got a few tattoos. Got like 4 or 5 tattoos. This is Sky from Paw Patrol. That's for my nephew James. Shout out James. He put me on Paw Patrol. I appreciate you, bro. But yeah, like doing those things, and it was hard to break out of that mode of religion. Like, even this is the last thing I'm gonna say, because I know this video kind of long, but even when I stopped going to church at 18 years old, religion was so ingrained in me that I felt like no matter what, I still had to believe in it. You know what I mean? I still had to believe in it. Like this is all I've ever known, like, period. And when I research, and people can hit me up if you want, the stuff I research about Seventh Day Adventism, and why I don't follow it, and why I never, ever, 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 ever will again. Definitely hit me up. But when I found that information and saw the stuff I was believing in, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep for weeks. There was a point where I was having like nightmares and stuff, and I would sleep with the TV on for a long time with lights on, because I went through so much because religion was all I ever known. It was literally like I was in a cult. Like it was everything to me. Like everything. It was life. Like it was like, what do I do now? What do I do now? And all I want to say is that, anything you believe in, that's your decision. But just make sure you ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Ask questions. If there isn't answers to it, go find the answers. Don't sit and listen to a pastor, because I've seen pastors who divorce wives, marry, divorce, marry, cheat on their wife, have other kids, do everything. Don't listen to them, man. Church, religion, this is another man-made thing. It has some positive and it has negatives. For me, it had a lot of negatives. But I don't I don't think people who are in religion, like how I was, because I started to judge on the other end. Like I was like, at first I was in religion and I was judging people who weren't in religion, and then I left religion and was judging people who were still in religion. So I'm not here to judge anyone. I just know for me it didn't work for me, and I'm just the type of person who want to grow and learn from people. If you can teach me something, teach me. I want to learn. I want to research. But I will never live in a box and say, this religion is totality. This is everything. No, it's not. Thank you. That's about it. I appreciate y'all watching the video, man. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful towards anyone. I just want to give, what I lived through, what's been facts for me, and how I'm growing moving forward. Oh, really quickly, if you want to know like where I am spiritually now, I'm at a point to where I'm still learning. You know what I mean? Um, do I believe in religion? No. Do I believe in Christianity? No. I believe if I was created by something, they wouldn't want me to live the way, that like religion has you live. I feel like if something created me, they created me to be me. I'm supposed to be one of one. Why live like everyone else? Why be the same? Like I'm one of one, but I'm supposed to kill my individuality and follow this? No. Just know my spirituality, I feel like I'm one of one. I feel like I was born with the information I need inside of me. I learned to, when I listen to myself, when I get away from technology, when I go to the beach, when I go to the ocean, when I go to the forest, when I go to the waterfalls, is when everything opens up for me. Is when I know what to do next. When life gets too much, that's where I go to revamp, recharge. I feel like I'm one with nature. You can call me a tree hugger or whatever. Yeah, I'm out in Oregon, but I just feel like everything that's living out here is one. Do I have all the answers? Not in the slightest. But I have answered the question that I won't live in a box, and I won't be judgmental. I'll live to what I know and yearn to know more and change my hypothesis once I learn more. But I won't be open-minded. You know what I mean? I mean, I won't be closed-minded. I will be open-minded. But yeah, that's about it. I appreciate the video. Please drop a comment. Let me know what you think. I'm down for dialogue. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all.